Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci with Protect Dog Training. This is D.O.G. We went out and got him a collar today, and somebody asked me on the board, and they asked a nice question. They said, why did I pick him over the other puppies? My answer to him was, I really can't tell you, other than over the years I've learned to trust my gut. I'm pretty good at picking the very typey, good-looking boys. I don't know what it is. It's just something that attracts me to its color a little bit. You see how that much red color in his head? Head shape was something that was a factor. There was one other puppy that I ended up having somebody else go ahead and take that was bigger boned and had a better conformation as far as bone structure, okay? And I almost chose that little guy. It was a hard choice. But with some feedback from him, he wanted this little guy, and of course, reverse psychology maybe, who knows. Maybe he got the better puppy, but at this point, what you end up getting is everything's up to you, you know? If you've got the genetic stamp is there. Who they are is who they are. And what you're really more concerned with when you do testing, let's say you do startle test, you drop a bowl, see how the dog reacts, all these little testing. When you do that, and I haven't done any, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not really worried about it because I know the strength of the genetics. But in a general sense, the thing that you're looking for when you do that testing are things that stand out that are omitters. In other words, something that's going to omit this dog from selecting it, okay? Just like that one female I was talking about that's a little shy. That's a trait that I don't want to see, okay? So right away, that stands out, okay? And that's more what's going to happen when you do testing and when you're doing things. You're going to see inadequacies. You're going to see things that are weaknesses. Those things stand out, okay? The biggest thing you can do is research your bloodlines and understand what you're getting. And this is a good example. It's a good time to talk about this. And I want to accent this in a general sense, so maybe you guys can get a little education on this. When I keep talking about genetic stamps, okay, I'm talking about where these dogs are bred, in this case a Dutch Shepherd, but in general a German Shepherd, Germany, the Dutch Shepherd, KNVP in Holland, and they usually are oriented towards a sport. Hungary is really doing good with their lines. The country of Hungary is doing really good with their bloodlines now. I've got one person that I had a dog, Maury, if you guys remember Maury from way back. That was from a police dog kennel, and her bloodlines, a lot of them are nose dogs. They're sniffers, and they are Malinois, and they are more oriented towards police work. So that being the case, she keeps her dogs until they're 16 weeks of age. She wants to get through the fear period, and she wants a more concrete exactness on what she picks. Because the younger the dog, this is an 8-week-old little puppy, okay, 8 weeks old. An 8-week-old puppy is not as telling as an older dog. The older they get, the more they're going to show you in their quality traits, okay? So you're going to get a better read the older the dog gets, okay? And then, of course, trauma or something that happens to them in the environment would be a factor, because these things get imprinted in their heads. They don't forget. It was a good example. We've got a Malinois that we've got on property that the father is one of the top dogs in France as far as ring sport. Come on, you come on, babies. We're gonna help you. I know you ain't got the legs to do it, but you want up there. Yes, you do. And this dog is really intense. But they brought the dog over, and he was a really good dog. And the gentleman that owned him ended up being out in the field here and working him. And one day a trash truck came by, and the dog freaked out, showed a lot of fear and insecurity towards the noise of the trash truck. Now they put 2 and 2 together, and they figured the dog probably got dropped off the tarmac, or that the whole trauma of flight from Europe over to here traumatized the dog at a very young age, at a puppy, and that affected his psyche. A little bean got in his head, and then that was a problem, right? They had to work their way through it. And that is what happens. You're doing with puppies, you're trying to make sure that you don't have any things that happen to the dog. So back to genetic stamps, and I keep saying this. What you have to understand is that where the dogs are bred and what they're bred for. With time, these create genetic stamps within the dog. So I like these guys because this is KNVP lineage that goes back. The lines that I've got are very strong. They go back 100 years. And very, very strong lines. Anybody that really knows their KNVP lines will look these up and see that these dogs are something else. But that is from a police dog criteria, and that KNVP is known to be one of the toughest sports there are. There is no give in that decoy when he's going down the field to the dog. It's like two trains hitting. So in general, the whole sport of KNVP is orientated towards police work. And that's what they're breeding for. They're breeding for strength within the sport of KNVP. Okay, so that creates, over time, with their genetic stamp, their breeding program, a certain type of characteristics. If you go towards the sport of Schutzen, you know that German Shepherds, if you do any studying, have a really good genetic predisposition to be biting way back in the back of these teeth. And they set that grip, is what they call it, way deep into their bite. And that comes from, good boy, good, yay, come on, do this. Come on, let's go. Yay, I got you. That comes from a breeding program, okay? Because they're looking for something that's going to get them the points. Over time, that becomes a genetic stamp within those dogs, okay? So you need to research your bloodlines. You need to know where they're coming from, what part of the world, and what their strengths are and what they're breeding for within their breeding programs towards usually a sport, okay? Or police work, but generally you don't have that really solid in that regards. We're getting that though. We've got a really good guy that's out of Orange County, out of here, excuse me. I think he's over in Ventura area, but wherever he's at, I won't mention the name, but he's a police dog trainer that's doing a hell of a job with his bloodlines. In fact, he's got Devil, who comes from Hans Peg. And that dog is very well known, and he ended up using him for his foundational breeding program. And he does a great job with the puppies. From some of the stuff I've seen online, really impressed with what this gentleman does with his dogs. And that's now one of the first that I've seen that we have a breeding program and development of the puppies that can rival Europe. And that's what I'd like to see more and more people doing. I would love to have, this guy's got a puppy chute where the dogs run through all the little tubes and little bottles and have to get to the end where the food is at. I would love to have something like that to use for the puppies. It's just a great thing for puppy development. So he's done a lot of these things. And then you've got Logan Haas, that's got a great program, and that comes from his experience with the military dogs and then being a child, being raised around dogs and bird dogs and all kinds of things that he's been into. So that experience tells, because when you develop a puppy, that's the key. It's kind of like what you were asking me in general about what made me pick this dog over the others. It wasn't anything that was really, easy baby, that was totally positive that I saw, because they all have very strong strength. Their genetic package is really strong. But what I didn't see was anything that would really just glaringly omit the dog from something that I didn't want, other than that little one female that I've got that's shy. Everything else in this litter is just tenacious. So that is more of it than anything. And then experience with being around puppies and just knowing what I want. There's nothing really in particular that really stands out. There's just nothing that omits this dog and makes it a negative that I wouldn't want this puppy. Okay, so I chose this puppy probably on color, head shape, and I looked at him very young, and then all of a sudden I started getting torn between the other big boned one and this one, and I was so torn that I didn't know which one to take. I took the one that I'd already bonded with, that I'd already decided, and I think I see more of Arrow in him, in his drivey type, and I see more of the mom and the bone structure from the other one. So I think he's probably going to have as good, if not better, depending on how he develops the dog, than I do. So there's your answer. I don't have really a concrete thing to tell you other than let my gut, my instincts tell me what's right and what's wrong, okay? And that's just from being around it for as long as I have. Good boy. You be easy, Joker. That's a baby. Come on, Joker. Come out and say hi to the baby. Come on. Come on. You're okay. You're okay. Come on. Good boy. Good. Joker's kind of crotchety. I've got to watch him, pay attention, chastise him, and nail him for getting any growling or going crazy on the puppy. So he'll put up with it to a certain degree. But if he snaps at him, I'll shoot him. Hup, kusha, kusha. Good, but this is good for the puppy. Good. There you go. Good. Good dog. Good. Good boy, good. So, D.O.G meets Joker. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.